For this nanDEMOnai, we're checking out the demo for The Way We All Go. When I was looking for a background image, which you can see since it's 4x3, I noticed it was billed as a combination horror/visual novel game. So that is kind of up my alley. It could be good stream fodder, depending on how much the demo impresses me. I might check out the full version, but yeah, I'm guessing The Way We All Go refers to death, and the forest is reminding me of that suicide forest in Japan. I think it's the forest around the base of Mount Fuji, where it's like the most popular suicide spot in the country. Look it up sometime if you want to be really bummed out. It's kind of terrifying and depressing, but an interesting cultural phenomenon. Anyway, let's play the game. I really think you should tell her, you know? I know, but are you scared? My eyes flicker open. I wake up in the compartment of a train. My head is leaned back against my seat, a strand of drool dripping from the corner of my mouth. What? Wincing, I wipe it away with the back of my hand. Drooling? At my age? That isn't very mature. I thought I stopped doing that when I was a kid. I need to get it together. Act more like an adult. I kind of like the smeary background there. That's what I keep telling myself, but it never seems to work out. That's partially why I decided to take this trip alone. This isn't some kind of crazy coming-of-age, quest for maturity kind of adventure, though. I'm not going to go to far-off lands and slay dragons, or pull swords from stones or anything. I doubt I could do that even if I tried. I'm just going to visit my grandparents, who live all the way out in the countryside. That's all. Still, I think it'll be nice going back home. I've only been away for 2 years, but it almost feels like a whole lifetime. I wonder if anything will be different. They're dead. 2 years might seem like a short amount of time, minuscule when you consider how old the Earth is, but a lot of things can change over a period of only a few days, let alone years. I hope Amu's okay. It'll be strange seeing her face again. She sent me some photographs, but a photo isn't the same thing as seeing a person in real life. And I wonder. I lean my head against the window, staring outside. The rough movement of the train jerks my head against the glass, bumping my forehead, knocking my teeth together so they chatter, but I disregard it. I can see fields, dyed dark blue under the evening sky. I'm not in the city anymore. I'm far away from my new house, my new school, my new friends. So is that me reflected, or is that Amu that I was thinking of? Saki, Miho, and Yuna. What are they doing right now? Saki with her love of horror stories. Miho, who always scores the highest in karaoke. Yuna, who wears red ribbons in her hair and keeps falling asleep in class. But these idle thoughts soon fade away. I'm going back home. And maybe I'll see her. She was always so quiet, never talking to anyone other than me. I don't think she's real. Will she be any different now? I hope she's at least made a few new friends. If she hasn't, then would it be my fault? No, that's no good. Why am I worrying already? I haven't even made it to the village yet. Stupid. I chastise myself, shaking my head in an attempt to dissuade my steadily mounting feelings of guilt. I don't want to ruin my trip before it even begins. But if I did, it wouldn't be too surprising. This guy's so hard on himself. Or girl. Again, we don't know. Maybe I deserve to feel bad. I should have told her. Why didn't I tell her? Because you were scared. I mutter this under my breath. It doesn't matter. Nobody can hear me. I'm the only person on the train, after all. Choo-choo! Whoa. Bit of a shift in art style. Darling! Welcome back! It's good to see you again, lad. You want ahead with your luggage? Okay, so we are a lad. I stand outside the small, dilapidated train station, gripping my single suitcase tight in my hand. Since I'm only going to be here for 3 days, I didn't bother to pack much. I can make do with only a few pairs of underwear and my pajamas. You're going to poop some of those. I don't need anything else. My grandparents are standing before me. They've come to greet me at the station with wide smiles, comforting in their familiarity. Their home is only 5 minutes drive from the station, so they didn't need to bring the car. Probably a good thing. By 5 minutes drive, I mean 5 minutes away. 5 minutes drive would be, God, at least a couple miles, well, half a mile's walk? My mother keeps saying grandfather's eyesight is getting worse and worse. Nowadays, he can hardly read the newspaper without the aid of his thick glasses, which he hardly ever wears, given he keeps losing them. And yet he's still allowed to drive a car, something he frequently does, according to my mother, just so he can feel superior to other people. What a dick. He's not going to feel so superior after he gets arrested for running somebody over. At least it's a fairly rural area, so there aren't all that many cars around to hit. You don't need to carry anything, Grandpa. I'm good. I return my grandfather's smile and make a show of lifting my suitcase, trying to prove that I can handle it. He, however, seems skeptical.
Nonsense! You made all the effort to come out here, and on that blasted train, too. You must be exhausted.
I'm fine. I'm not a child anymore. Grandfather peers at me, frowning. Maybe he's trying to verify the validity of my statement. I wonder if he's forgotten how old I am.
What? What's this? You still look like a youngster to me.
Hey, I am 16.
And I'm older than 60. Gulf between us is as wide as the Kitakami River. And I'm going to kick your ass straight across it.
My grandmother giggles.
Come now, dear, don't be silly. You're getting old and your eyes aren't what they used to be.
Nonsense! My eyes are just fine, Chio.
And yet you keep wearing that ugly shirt.
This shirt isn't ugly. It's very cutting edge, I'll have you know. All the youngsters are wearing them.
Our dear grandson isn't wearing one.
To his detriment. It enhances a man's natural charm and shows off his true character.
It shows he's starting to get senile, perhaps.
Chio, you can be a very cruel mistress.
Now, don't bully Achan too much, you old bore.
That extra C is bothering the crap out of me. It's not how you Romanized properly! Sorry.
I'm just saying it like I see it, Chio. To me, he'll always be a brat.
On the contrary, I think he's grown up to be rather handsome.
Grandma, don't hit on me. Handsome? I don't know about that.
Well, you know what they say. Good things come in small packages.
Is she dissing my wiener?
The way I see it, you're just being modest.
I don't know if being short is the same thing as being modest. Okay. My lack of height wasn't a conscious decision I made. If anything, I'd like to be a couple of inches taller. That way, I wouldn't get teased so much. Being the shortest boy in your class can be pretty depressing. Nobody likes being picked last when teams are being formed in PE, and nobody likes being laughed at. I'm not really modest, you know?
I think you are. You're just proving my point, dear.
Not really. Well.
Oh, our Irie has praised you well. You're such a little gentleman.
Little being the operative word.
You must get it from your side of the family, Chio. You've always been tiny, haven't you?
Yes, yes. I simply have a weak constitution.
See? Even though he's 2 years older now, he's still a runt. I think you should let me carry your case, lad. It's for your own good.
Nah, I'd feel bad. You need to put yourself out for me. Grandmother grins, beckoning me close. I follow her crooked finger and she leans in towards me, whispering in my ear.
Don't mind him, dear. He just wants to show off. Let him carry your case. It'll give him something to boast about with the neighbors later.
Oh. Well, if that's how it is.
Ho-ho! No matter how old this man gets, he's still a child at heart.
Grandmother and I laugh together, co-conspirators, before I turn my attention back to my grandfather. Alright, I reconsidered. I guess I am a little tired from the journey, so you can carry my case if you want.
Excellent! I see you talked some sense into him, Chio. You used your feminine charms, did you?
Grandma, don't hit on me.
Mm-hmm. Even at the age of 80, I still have it in me. Must be from all the homegrown vegetables we eat. They're good for your skin, better than the vegetables at these so-called supermarkets.
You got that right.
You do have that right.
No tomatoes taste as good as yours, Chio.
Is that a euphemism? As my grandparents laugh together, sounding so carefree, I feel something lift from the pit of my stomach. Could it be anxiety? Could it be a hernia? I started to get worried during my journey here, but maybe those fears were unfounded. Simply seeing my grandparents has made me feel more at ease. They're totally gonna die. They're totally gonna die. I guess I really do belong here. It's where I was born, after all. Nice dissolve. And by dissolve, I mean wipe.
How was the journey here, darling?
It was fine. Took a while. It was a little tiring. But other than that...
Yes, yes. It really is a long journey. It's 6 hours or so, isn't it?
Something like that. I had to change a few times, though, and wait around for a while. This guy's exciting as brick. So maybe it was more like 7.
7 hours?
My grandmother tucked disapprovingly.
Your poor dear, it must have been dreadful. You need to eat more. Here, take this.
Thanks. I look at my loaded plate with suspicion. Even though grandmother said that stuff about me being grown up and handsome. Did she really believe it? She did. Why did she make me so much food? It's almost like she's trying to feed up a starving kitten. There weren't many people on the train, though. For the last 2 stations, I was the only one. It wasn't too stressful.
Oh, well, this is a very small village. Not many people come up here, and more people have been leaving.
Huh? But why?
Because there aren't enough jobs to go around. Means there's no reason to stay. Now, most of what's left here is just us old people.
It's sad, really. I don't think I should ever like to leave. It's just so peaceful. And the green beans that grow in these parts are the best you can find. Oh.
I even hear they're going to discontinue the train line here. Guess it makes sense since it's hardly ever used and the current track is getting old. Then we'll be trapped forever and die alone.
Huh. That really is sad. I pick at my dinner despondently. Love how the music doesn't match the despondent mood at all, but whatever. Even though I don't live here anymore. Hearing that this village is starting to decline is just a little depressing. All of my childhood memories were created here. Every single precious moment of my youth. Going out for walks in the forest, catching cicadas in the summer with a net and an empty mayonnaise jar. My extravagant and slightly unrealistic plans to build a treehouse with Amu, which never managed to become a reality. And, of course, there was her. My best friend, Noelle. That is the least Asian name, despite all these Asian names. And that phone looks like a boot.
Hey, Achan. God, it's been too long.
Saki's voice, wry and politely sarcastic as ever, comes through to me from the other end of the phone. The phone in my grandparents' home is fairly old, more of an antique than a fully functional means of communication, and it distorts her voice, just as ripples across the water can mar a reflection. Well, now we're getting thoughtful about phone calls. Even so, I recognize it. How could I not? That kind of tone could only belong to the Saki I know, and sort of, with a certain amount of fear, love. I smile, shaking my head. She's acting like she hasn't seen me in years. It hasn't been that long. Only a couple of days.
But it feels like an eternity. I've been so bored. I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged. Oh, sorry, that was him. I'm sitting on the floor, cross-legged, the cord of the phone snaked about in my lap. My hair is damp from the bath, and my face feels slightly flushed. Points for actually describing what is going on. I've played a few games where they don't even bother. Just assume that they're just standing there, and quality. I am probably going to check this one out, then. What can I say? It's the little things. Anyway. And my face feels slightly flushed. I think I use a little too much hot water. I've always loved hot baths, ever since I was a kid, but sometimes I go overboard and emerge from my long soaks on uneasy legs, my skin bright pink and puckered like a prune. I yawn, holding one hand against my mouth, and shift slightly, balancing the phone against my shoulder, in the crook of my neck. How can you be bored? You have all those brothers and sisters to look after, don't you? Erg. Don't remind me. I only just got them all off to bed. It's so unfair. My parents wanted to go off on a romantic holiday. They should have thought twice before having so many kids. Why should I have to stay behind to look after them just because I'm the oldest?
But you wouldn't have wanted to go on holiday with them either, would you?
With my parents? Of course not. I'd rather die. Did you know they've gone to Okinawa? Who wants to go to Okinawa? I went there on a school trip a few years ago and it's a complete tourist trap. tacky merchandise everywhere. It's also bright and noisy. Not to mention the weather.
The food's good. Saki has a very pale complexion, which she guards jealously. She always slathers on sunscreen, inches thick, whenever so much as a single glint of sunshine can be seen peeking out from behind a cloud. Then I don't know why you're so unhappy. If you didn't want to go with them in the first place, then there's no problem, right?
It's the principle of the thing, that's all. I'm hurt. They didn't even invite me.
Because they knew you wouldn't want to go.
But I still would have liked an invitation. Would at least have given the vague illusion that my company is in high demand this holiday.
What about Miho and Yuna?
Yuna went to stay with her big sister for a few days, and Miho's out camping with her parents. This is all so pathetic. I'm the only one who doesn't have anything to do. Not a single thing.
But taking care of your siblings is a noble job.
Haha, yeah, noble.
Saki laughs dryly without any trace of humor.
If you think watching reruns of Heidi for a few hours on the end is noble, then sure.
I kind of liked Heidi. I had the whole series on VHS, and I used to rewatch it regularly, even up until my early teens when I was feeling bad. That is, until my mother rummaged through my bedroom when I wasn't at home and threw out all my VHS tapes. Did you think they were all porn? I was pretty sore about that at the time, and I still am, actually. Most of those shows don't get aired on TV anymore.
I liked it too, but that was when I was about 5.
But most of your siblings are 5.
I know. It's so depressing I could scream. However, I will refrain because that would wake those monsters up again.
Sounds rough.
You have no idea. You haven't known true torture until you've had the task of putting 4 young children to bed.
Having met Saki's siblings several times during my trips to her home, I know better than to berate her. Although I genuinely like young children, Saki's siblings are something else altogether. They're more like gremlins than cute kids, and they're so loud, too. It's no wonder Saki always has dark bags under her eyes. Living in a small home filled with tiny children, prone to waking up in the very early hours of the morning and slipping into their big sister's bed, must be incredibly exhausting.
It's getting so bad that I'm starting to think Okinawa would be better off after all. Okinawa. What a joke. Why couldn't they go somewhere classy like France or Italy? If it absolutely has to be Japan, then Ginza would definitely be the best choice.
That's a part of Tokyo.
My parents have, like, no sense of style, none whatsoever.
A sigh.
Anyway, I hope you're having a good time at least.
I'm not entirely sure yet. I only just got here.
Your train journey was that long?
Yeah, like 7 hours or so.
I would hate that so much, being cramped up in a train with strangers coughing on me.
It really wasn't that bad. It's pretty quiet, really.
That's good, I suppose. More than can be said for my day.
A pause.
Hey, Achan.
What is it?
I hope you have a good time on your trip. Honestly. I'm not just saying it.
The thirst is real. Yeah, I know.
I hope you get along well with your friends. Your old friends. And,
I shuffle around trying to get comfortable. My bare feet, toes twitching, are starting to feel strange, slightly heavy. Have they gone numb from sitting cross-legged on the wooden floor for so long?
If you ever feel overwhelmed, you can always call me. I probably won't be out doing anything interesting. If anything, I'd appreciate having somebody to talk to other than the mothers at the local playground.
Sure. I'll try to keep in contact if I have time. But I am going to be back in 3 days. Just try to hold out until then.
I'll do my best. 3 days of endless Heidi reruns and pillow fights and takeout pizza. I'll have to grin and bear it, I suppose.
Not that Saki grins very often. That would conflict with her pale-skinned, dark-eyed, eternal queen of the night appearance.
Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you bring me back a souvenir. I need some kind of excitement lingering on the horizon to get me through this living nightmare. Otherwise, I might snap and stab myself in the eye with a wax crayon.
Oh, wouldn't she already have stabbed herself with a wax crayon before you get back with a souvenir? Anyway, I lie in my futon, staring up the living room ceiling. Since my grandparents' house is pretty small, there's nowhere to put me other than here. Still, I don't mind. It reminds me of the times when I was a child and I used to stay here overnight when my parents were busy. I would lie on the same futon, in this same living room, with the light turned on, reading comics and eating slices of stolen tangerine. My fingers would always get stained with yellow from the rind of the tangerine, and I never had the foresight to wash it off before I went to sleep. My grandmother would see my yellow fingers in the morning, and them see the missing tangerines, but she never scolded me. Instead, she asked, in an overly theatrical tone of surprise, "Where have all the tangerines gone?" And I'd say, "I don't know, maybe it was a bear." They really were fun times. But I'm not 10 anymore. I'm getting older, and I'm too big for this futon now. The tips of my toes are poking out from under the sheets. I close my eyes and curl up into a ball, listening to the sounds of the cicadas outside. The windows are all shut, but I can still hear them. This is something I forgot after living in the city for so long. The small details vanish from my mind, as though they were never there at all. If you've never been to Japan, the cicadas during the summer, loud as dicks. No matter where you live, there's always background noise. In the city, it's cars and drunken arguments at 2 a.m. outside your apartment. In the countryside, it's cicadas. Cicadas in the wind. I snuggle under my blanket. For some reason, I feel cold, and not just my toes. All of me, my whole body. I shiver. Maybe it isn't the weather. Maybe it's my mind. I'm probably overthinking things. I always do. Thinking about tomorrow. Thinking about her. I should have told her. Why? Why didn't I tell her? That's the last thought I have. Ever! Before I fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. Sunlight streams through the window. I can feel it brushing against my face, trying to snake itself through my closed eyes. I curl up even tighter into a ball, like a hibernating hedgehog. The new day crept upon me far too fast. I haven't had any time to prepare myself yet. I'm still tired, and my feet are cold. That's what I get for sleeping on a futon slightly too small for me, I guess. I can't hear any cars. I can't hear any people. Everything is still. Quiet. Maybe too quiet. Yeah, it's probably too quiet. I don't know. It's fairly simple. It's, standard exposition. And fish slightly out of water, but slightly familiar territory. I'm probably going to check out the full version of this. I don't think it runs for too much, because most Ren'Py games really don't. But it seems sort of worth my time. I'm kind of curious what's up with this chick that he's upset about. I wonder if there's, choices to stay with Noelle, maybe go home to Saki. Yeah, if you're into visual novels, this is alright. It's doable. I don't know why the go is capitalized in the title, but that's really the only complaint I can think of right now. And also that it doesn't have voice acting. But that's why I'm here. Or your brain is there if you play it yourself. I'm going to give this a recommend. Go check it out.